The wife left home with her daughter to make room for her husband to marry his first love. She even had her daughter sign a document cutting ties with her father, so he would not worry about her coming back for the inheritance. Later, the woman watched as her husband and his first love celebrated their victory, coldly thinking they could smile now. But not for long. The reason she left so decisively was that she believed her husband was dying, and there would be no way to save him in time. Just moments earlier, she discovered that her daughter was a perfect liver match for her husband, who was in the final stage of liver cancer. The doctor said surgery could be done immediately. Hearing this, the woman and her daughter were overwhelmed with relief and joy. When she first saw his medical report, she had chosen to hide it, fearing he would not be able to handle the truth. Now that her daughter was a match, they finally had hope. She wanted to tell him the good news right away so he could survive. But before she could, they returned home to find her husband waiting with his first love, ready to force her into divorce so he could marry her. The woman never imagined that the man she had devoted 20 years of her life to had already betrayed her. Now he was using his first love and their son to push her out of the family. The irony crushed her. Just moments ago she had been preparing to save his life, and now she was being discarded by him. She questioned him in disbelief, saying she had given everything to this family for 20 years. Why was he abandoning her for another woman? Her husband snapped at her to shut up. The first love smugly claimed she was his true love. She said he only stayed in the marriage because their daughter was still young, and now that she had grown up, he had no reason to keep suffering. The husband coldly said that in love, the unloved one is always the outsider, and reminded her that he now had a son with his first love. Hearing their shameless words, the woman remembered his promise that he would love her forever. It now felt like a cruel joke. In anger, she was about to sign the divorce papers when her mother-in-law suddenly arrived and stopped her. She had once hoped her mother-in-law would be fair, but instead, she turned out to be even more ruthless than her husband. The mother-in-law said that since the woman never worked, she did not deserve any of the family assets. When the woman explained that her husband had insisted she stay home, the mother-in-law dismissed it as a wife's duty. She also said all the assets should go to the grandson, then blamed the woman for failing to give birth to a son. At that point, the husband agreed with his mother and prepared a new divorce agreement that would leave her with nothing. The mother-in-law even brought a document demanding that she waive all property rights. The woman asked her husband one last time if he truly wanted to strip her of everything, but he ignored her and looked toward his first love and their child instead. Their daughter, unable to bear the breakup of her family and terrified her father's illness might take his life, begged them not to divorce. But the woman had already seen through everything. She thought that if he died, it would be his own consequence. Seeing their daughter crying, the mother-in-law and the husband accused the woman of manipulating her. The woman only wanted to leave as soon as possible. She picked up the divorce papers from the ground, ready to sign. At that moment, their daughter desperately begged her father to stop her mother, saying that if she signed, he would not survive. As she spoke, she tore the divorce papers apart. The father frowned and asked what she meant by saying he would not survive if they divorced. The mother-in-law believed the girl was cursing her father. She angrily slapped her across the face and scolded her for tearing up the divorce agreement. The first love told her not to be angry, saying the agreement could simply be rewritten. The girl was furious that the first love had destroyed her family. She grabbed the remote control and threw it at her. The baby immediately cried in fear. Seeing this, the father angrily scolded the girl and said he would teach her a harsh lesson. During the argument, the girl remembered how well her father had once treated her, all because he expected her to take care of him when he was old. Then he demanded that she apologize to his first love. She still believed the first love had destroyed their family and refused. The first love pretended to defend her, saying an apology was unnecessary. The man believed she had suffered greatly and decided to stand up for her. The girl found it absurd. Her mother had once nearly died from heavy bleeding during childbirth, and even in winter, despite frostbite, still washed clothes for the entire family. Yet her father never once acknowledged her suffering. Before she could finish, her father slapped her again and demanded she keep apologizing. He threatened to stop paying for her college tuition. Hearing this, the girl felt completely heartbroken. She could not believe the father who once loved her now treated her as nothing, just because he had a son with another woman. She finally saw his true face. She smashed a glass cup, deliberately attracting the neighbors. Then she knelt down and said she was cutting ties with him. Even if he died, she would never save him again. The father agreed coldly, and the first love smiled in satisfaction. After the girl signed the severance agreement, she demanded her father sign as well. The neighbors tried to stop him, reminding him that she was his biological daughter, and that if he signed, he would lose her forever. The mother-in-law did not care at all. She urged him to sign quickly so they could get rid of both burdens. Just as he was about to sign, the mother-in-law brought out another document renouncing inheritance rights. She wanted to ensure the girl would receive nothing, because everything was reserved for her grandson. The woman tried to argue but was insulted for not being able to give birth to a son. Soon after, mother and daughter both signed the severance agreement. The next day, once the divorce papers were signed, they would be completely erased from the family. That night, the daughter advised her mother not to sign the divorce agreement. After 20 years of sacrifice, leaving with nothing was too unfair. But the mother had already made her decision. She would not sign it. She would force him into court and take half of the assets. And if he died, she would still inherit half automatically. Hearing this, the daughter finally felt relieved. The next day, The woman left her ex-husband's home and started working part-time at a hot pot restaurant nearby, using the income to support herself and her daughter. Unexpectedly, the mother-in-law and the first love came to mock her, laughing that without the man, she could only work as a cashier. They came that day with one purpose: to force her to sign the divorce agreement. Facing the first love's threats, the woman began to fight back.